All right, so somebody asked how does it work when you're working in different areas? Well, if you give a ride from Orlando to Miami, you're still in the state of Florida. You can work anywhere. Now, will you get reservations, different stuff like that? There are little stuff that comes into play with it. Maybe different options you have. If you're doing Uber Black, you're not going to be able to pick up at that airport because you have to have a permit. So there are little things depending on what tier level you're working, to what kind of issues you might have and what complications. That just goes with that. But what regular Uber, even Premier, even Uber X, all that but Black, you can pretty much work anywhere in that state or your assigned area. Now, in some states you can work multiple states because they're smaller. So when you get up north like Virginia or DC, stuff like that, you can actually work multiple states. You could cross state lines. Now with Florida, you cannot. When I worked in or lived in Jacksonville and I had to take a lot of rides from the airport to Brunswick, Georgia, St. Simons, all that. Once you cross state lines, the only thing you can do is Uber Eats. Now with Lyft, you can work Georgia and you can work Florida. So Lyft's a little bit more lenient. Now, why? I don't understand, because you're covered under commercial policy, so it doesn't really matter where you're going. You're still working. You're still in the United States, not like you're going to a different country. But that's just how they do it. I think you could actually do it if they wanted you to, but I think for some reason they want to make it more difficult. I really can't tell you because I'm not an insurance agent. I just know from my research. Now, can you cross state lines and work in other states? Yes, you can. I'll show you how to do it at some point, but I'm not going to give it away now. I'm not going to show you now. I will in the future. You guys will see as I cross into Georgia, South Carolina, all that. There is a little bit more that goes into it than just, hey, I'm going to go work down in Palm Beach, but I work in Florida. So there's a little bit more to it. But you have to know what state you're in, what area, to what stuff you can do. You can look it up in the map. It'll show you what you're allowed to work. Now, you can give a ride all the way to Vegas. You can give a ride all the way to New York, but you're not going to be able to work in that area when you drop off. So you always got to keep that in mind when you're doing a long distance trip. It might pay good, but how long of a ride back do you have to do? And can you work in that area for a little bit of time? How long have you been working? So all that plays in a factor. But at the end of the day, if it's a high enough price, what would you make in that day if you didn't do that ride versus if you do that ride? So there's a lot of different things that you got to think about when it comes to a long trip, especially if it's worth it. Now with Uber Premier, if I get a long trip, I'm probably definitely going to take it because it's probably going to definitely pay pretty good. It's just like the ones you see people always want to show compared to the ones I show you. That's what you mostly are going to get, smaller fares. But you can go to different areas. You can work in your assigned state, in your assigned area. Some places you can work in multiple states. So you definitely can.